Ah,
You didn't know you were muted. Yeah, it's
yeah, my wife was asking me what I was doing.
Yeah, no worries. I know we've been traveling a lot, and it's we're playing catch up, and also Jeff is out of the country for the next couple weeks, so he does a lot of the organization stuff on this. But I got a pretty good lesson, and then we're going to do some Q&A. Something that I prepared that I've been kind of working on a little bit. Love to share it with you guys, and I think it will probably resonate with some of you guys, or maybe pieces of it will resonate with all of you guys. But we had an awesome couple weeks. I think we've done 5 events in the last like 30 days. So we were in San Diego for the traffic and conversions, and then we were in Austin, and then we were back in San Diego for 2 other events. I was also in Vegas for like a business acquisition event, which was amazing.
Off.
What's going on? You all right, man? Mike? Oh, there you go. Okay.
Sorry, my cat was jumping on me. Sorry.
Oh, I thought yeah, it sounded like you got stabbed. All right. Well, cool. Let's share some wins here. Who has some wins? I know we haven't had a call in 2 weeks, so I'd love to hear if any of you guys have done anything big in your business to try to move things forward, or any cool things that you can share that can help inspire some of the people in our group that are, need to hear this type of a message. So who's done something cool in the last 2 weeks?
I got a few clients.
Hey, Delgado, what's up, brother? You got a couple clients?
Yeah, the cool part about some of these clients is that they're local clients. Like literally, I went to go visit them, had a one-on-one with them. That's been like a new thing for me lately. I got a realtor, so I'm pretty jazzed about that. A few content writing clients on Upwork, and the lead gens that I bought a few lead gens, and I have some set up, and I've been getting slowly but surely maybe a couple of leads a week, which is kind of exciting to go through that rep, especially because I am getting into that rank and rent niche or business model.
Yeah.
And then to top it off, I met with Chad. He's not here today, which was kind of cool. I went to Arizona, met up with him.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Alfredo, we talked about this a lot, right? When we met in person, building those relationships with other people that are like-minded and in this business model has been a huge help for me, and a lot of the other people that have been kind of the people that I came up with. Like, we talk about this, the guys that we all kind of found success together. We all kind of started at the same time. We all worked through a lot of these problems together. So I encourage you to do stuff like that. I'm really happy to see that you're making, I know you got a lot going on, Alfredo, but it's awesome that you're finding the time to make these connections and continue to kind of cultivate those relationships. So super cool. And congrats on the clients, man. Anything else, Alfredo?
Yeah, they're just plugging away, exciting. Shouting out LeadSnap and different groups.
I love it, man. Thanks for the shout out. I haven't had a chance to watch that video, but we always appreciate that. There's a lot of people on our team that are trying to make a difference, so it's cool to see that. Who else has some wins for the last 2 weeks? New deals, new clients, personal victories. What can you share to inspire other people? Excuse me.
I got my first rank and rent. It's produced its first call and website up, and got a client for it, and working on my second GMB or GBP right now for a tree service.
That's
so
awesome,
the first
man.
one is appliance repair. So already had a client in that industry, and it was like an easy sell. So
super cool. Yeah. My only message that I want to communicate, you've got someone in there, then that's great. But I would absolutely gravitate towards the higher ticket niche cost as you continue to move forward, just to maximize your return. Okay, cool. Who else had? Congrats on those, man. Getting the first calls coming in really kind of shows you like, hey, this is possible. And getting that first client in, it can change your whole viewpoint of the business model. So congrats on that, Mike. That's super cool. Who else? We got any other wins?
Yeah, I got a
Alex
something
from up north.
Yes. Yeah, I had a meeting with an interior renovation company. They do painting and drywall kind of thing like that in the Seattle area. And you know, we had a sales meeting, and we kind of left it with no firm decision. But then the guy called me today, and he kind of wants to move forward. But I guess I'm looking for a little bit of advice, because he's kind of all over the place, you know, like, and I'm trying to like hone in on what I can do for him, because he kind of wants painting and drywall, and he wants to do this like phone automation thing, you know, where his calls get kind of inputted into his monday.com thing. And, you know, he's just kind of all over the place. I'm just trying to focus him down to just like maybe just start with like the lead gen property that I have, that I was initially trying to sell him on. And I told him, like, I use your technique where, like, let's start with a $1,500 a month setup fee, and then you don't pay anything until the leads start coming in. And he's agreeable to that, but he wants all this other stuff, and I'm just trying to, like, you know, focus him and to try and close him, you know.
Yeah. I mean, that would be like 1,500 per site for me. So if he wants to go into these other ones, you could do that, but it's going to cost more, and you need to let him know, like, hey, I would be selecting the ones that are going to make the most sense, right? So if he is in roofing, that might be more competitive than like kitchen remodeling, right?
Yeah.
So does he do that kitchen remodeling and bathroom remodeling?
No, he does like painting and drywall and drywall repair. So interior, exterior painting, drywall.
Yeah, I get pretty scared when like repair is a part of the niche, because I just think the value of the lead is going to be drastically reduced. I would be cherry picking, look at all of his services. There's been calls where I went through and I mentioned like our questionnaire. So I would send him out an onboarding questionnaire. Two of the most important questions that are on that questionnaire need to be like, what are the services that you provide? List them in priority order. What are the cities that you provide them in? List them in priority order. And then you can use that information to kind of cherry pick what the best opportunities are. And I would definitely be paying attention to the lead value. So like drywall repair is not going to create a really high lead value, in my opinion. You might get some good volume, but you know, if he's not making a lot of money, then he can't pay you a lot of money. And it, like, the money that he's making is going to be, there's a ratio there to what he can pay you. And you have X amount of hours that you can spend. So you need to make sure that you're spending the time doing ones that are going to return you the big bucks. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a bunch of sites that aren't paying you a ton of money, even if you're bringing in a lot of leads, right? So
he also mentioned he does like cabinet refinishing, and I thought that might be a good lead.
That might be better. I've never been in that niche, so I'm not exactly sure. But I would just, hey, how much does it cost to get your cabinets refinished? Is it at least $1,000, right?
Yeah, it's at least $1,000. Yeah.
Okay. So like favor those, and that also seems like a little bit more obscure than like drywall. And with that obscurity, a lot of times the competition reduces, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So each area he's in is sort of like a different lead gen property. That's like,
right. If you try to, yeah. Even a lot of times, like if you were to try to like put this all under one roof, then you're so Google's going to want to pick the ones that's kind of like the most relevant, right? That has the most relevance to this. And when that's why there's an advantage if I go like, you know, so if I had to choose, like, I'll say like plumbing United States, how am I going to rank in Los Angeles? Or like plumbing Los Angeles will rank better than plumbing United States, everything else being equal within Los Angeles, right? Or if I were to go hot water heater Los Angeles, that's going to rank better than the other two for a hot water heater. So the more specific you can get, the better, the more relevance that there is. And Google is going to reward you with that. So you need to divide that thing up into sub niche sites, so that way you can be more relevant. And then it's easy for us to build a few sites. What's hard is trying to rank the sites. So if you can give yourself, if you can start at like the 30-yard line by choosing something that's more specific, that gives you a huge advantage in the long run. And it's a lot easier to build those extra sites, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Alex?
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'll definitely reach out to him and explain that to him. Yeah.
Yeah. And then charge him the startup fee based on the ones like, so my $1,500 startup fee, which we're now kind of moving to $2,000. And, I'd encourage a lot of you guys, especially those guys that kind of have the confidence to move that number up a little bit. There's inflation. There's all this other stuff. Like, maybe it's a little more challenging recently over the last like 3 months with Google My Businesses. You can still get them. So don't like take that the wrong way. But that's per like niche and city, right? So your goal is to cover your expenses while getting them to have skin in the game. And as you start to deliver results for them, the startup fee is not a problem for these people, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Cool. Who else has some wins in the last couple of weeks?
Hey, Patrick, I do have one I wanted to.
Greg Adams, what's up, man?
Hey, I just wanted to say here, going for, niching down, that you always talk about that. I've known this for years, but I'm really taking this to a directory style. I've done directories before, but it's just been kind of like a local and city and stuff like that, but really taking it into a specific niche and building out the directory for that specific niche. And this has a lot of advantages to that. I'm learning this over in another place. And I reached out last week. I'm trying to get some automation going on, and they're using another system over there, which I do not want to use. Everybody's trying to get away from. But anyway, I just want to encourage people to, if you can, stay in your lane and stay in your niche on that. It doesn't mean that you can't expand out, because I'm going after one, but there's a lot of little sub niches within there. And I know you've talked about that a few times, but really, it's really helped me to do it, because I had one client, I thought I was going to fire him, and then he called out to me yesterday and said, hey, well, how are we doing on the site? And I did build out your site, but I told you I was going to build these other sites out, and I got to do stuff to make me money. And you said that your girl's going to do the GMB. I sent you an invoice for that, and you just said that she's going to take care of it. Well, I'm willing to pay for it. So, it's kind of like, it's starting to build out and getting that confidence, and it's helped me to know that I'm staying in that niche, because once you kind of get your wheels going and you get that content going, then you can just duplicate it in another city. So you start to talk their language, their lingo, and it's easier. Instead of doing, one vertical here and then another vertical here, it's hard to get traction. I've learned this over the years. It's just taken me this long to really see it. But I just want to encourage people, if you can, I know everybody's trying to make money right now, and we try to get what we can, but if we can stay in our lane, it'll be much easier in the long run, and you have a lot more valuable asset. Anyway, that's what
absolutely. I got. There's some strategies that I want to that I want to unroll to you guys involving directories. And a couple years ago, we were doing a lot of we started building a big directory site, and we have a lot of intentions to continue that. And it can be a phenomenal prospecting tool, and I want to unload that strategy to you guys. I've mentioned this a lot, and we've had a ton of requests for this. We've and people looking for this in our future is, hey, is there a course? And we have the videos that are in the LeadSnap training. Now, there's a lot of things that we've covered on this, and there's stuff that goes well beyond that we've never really put into these weekly videos, because we're trying to hit a wider audience. But essentially, we're going to be building out our course and targeting January 1st for our launch date on that. We're going to have a couple different levels, I think. So for those of you guys that are kind of looking to dive in and get the step-by-step instructions, I just want to prime you for that and let you know that that's coming. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to give a lot of you guys the structure that you need. And we'll have, with that course, we'll have our own private Facebook group. There'll be people from my staff that will kind of be trying to move you guys forward. I'll be mentioning more of this as it comes out, but we're targeting January 1st for our release date, so 2023, if that is interesting for anyone. All right, I see a lot of faces on here, a lot of people that that have been in here for a long time. Vadim, I know that you're usually busy. You're down in Miami. We got Raphael Santana, and to pick up with what you were saying, Alfredo went to Phoenix. Mike and Greg, Mike D and Greg, you guys are both in Houston. That might be a good connection. I see Henry on here from Canada, man. It's great to see you guys. We got Emery. I see a couple new faces in here as well. So if no one else has wins, then I will get into the lesson that I prepared. Spencer, you have any wins for us this week?
Yeah, man. I hosted my first paid webinar.
Oh, cool,
I know
man. How'd
Raphael
that go?
was on there. Well, man, I love it when Google changes things and you can't get into the back end of the platform and don't see Devin's video. So I clicked around the best I could on Monday to familiarize myself, but then, come Tuesday, you've lost, all of it because it's so new. So besides that, I think things went really well. I'm getting on a paid group tomorrow with about 50 to 100 real estate agents to show them how to optimize up Google My Business on the back end, with a special offer at the end. And I'm hoping that some of these guys say, man, that's too much effing work. I'm going to have Spencer just take care of this. So we're using it as a prospecting method, and it's something new to me. It's totally outside my comfort zone, but you know what, you guys, it's where growth happens.
For sure. And I doubt that the realtor, realtors are not there. I mean, there's always exceptions. There's great realtors out there.
They're lazy people.
Yeah, they're not known for hey, let me just go figure out all this SEO stuff that's taken us years to learn. Let me go and do that, because if they had that kind of mentality, they probably would have already done it. And the goal of this is not really, the goal is to establish credibility by teaching them things in a way that they can digest, and that builds trust. And with that trust, they'll be willing to hire you. The thing that I'll caution you with realtors is it's a really long sales cycle. And, if things are not closing for them or they're not getting the value out of it, it can be a tough client to keep. But I love the webinar idea. And, maybe you can, just optimizing their GMBs and stuff like that, especially if you can turn that into a scalable process, then, maybe they don't need to see those immediate results if they're not paying, several $1,000s a month for closed deals. So I love it, man. That's a great idea. I've got some webinar stuff and some of the directory stuff that I was mentioning that I want to put directly into our course. We've got a lot of other things that we're working on, a lot of the coaching that I'm paying for. And that's going to kind of go into our lesson a little bit today is, I've mentioned this before, you guys, when we build out these rank and rent lead generation websites, probably 95% of the people that come to these sites, they're not ready to buy, right? They're just not. They're price shopping. Think about how many times you guys search for things where you actually buy, right? Sometimes you're just looking for information. So, what we're working towards in our agency is how do we take the people that are not ready to buy and get them into a nurturing sequence? How can we get their information and nurture them and retarget them over time? So it goes well beyond just this kind of ranking a site, because what if we can get 4 times as many leads or more for ranking a site because we've got some of these other pieces in place? So we're getting paid to generate leads, and we've have one really good way to do it. But as myself, and I've had my team pay, we've been going to these different coaching programs. A lot of these other lead generation people, they don't do local SEO at all. They're just they're doing paid ads and all these other things. And that can come with its own challenges. But, really where I think we grow and how do we become an 8-figure agency? Well, we get a lot more leads coming in, and we do it in a more scalable fashion. So this is some of the stuff that we're working on. Okay, cool. So I'm excited to share some of this as we roll it out. We're bringing in some really high level people into our agency, and some of these amazing coaches that we have. But this is kind of playing into what I want to share with you guys tonight. So I'm going to talk to you guys tonight about there's kind of 3 different types of people that exist. And I'll share my screen now and I'll walk you through this. And if someone can give me the thumbs up, Spencer, I can see you right now, and Vadim. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. So I'm going to try this out. I did this once before and it worked. So hopefully.
Yeah, we can see your screen, Pat.
Okay, awesome. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit more on this. Zoom in. Maybe not. Okay, let me try this. Is this big enough for you guys? Because I thought I was going to be able to zoom in. Does this work for you guys? We're able to
It's
see
good
the
enough.
Okay, cool. All right, so the three different types of people. First, we have the stressor. Okay, so we're going to talk about the stressor and what their habits are. So we're all kind of dealing with a similar thing when we're going through this stuff. Okay, looks like we got a little delay. You guys cannot see what I just wrote. Let me stop sharing. This is going to break everything if this doesn't work. Screen share.
أقررتم وأنتم تشهدون ثم أنتم
Hang on one second. I think it's prayer time somewhere.
Yeah, it's prayer time.
Let me just pause my screen share. Sorry for the tech. I practiced this prior and it did not have an issue. Stop. Okay. Let's try this again. Start screen share. Accept. Oh my God, it crashed. Man, I have this fancy gadget that I paid all this money for, and it is. All right, there we go. Okay, I think we're back now. Okay, cool. Sorry for the tech difficulties here, guys. Let me share my screen again. And Bobby, give me a thumbs up. Can you see that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can see that. It's all good.
Okay. So we got the three different types of people here. So the number one is the stressor. And this is what happens for all of us in our business. We're all going to kind of follow this pathway. So we're going to come up like this, and then at some point we're going to plateau. And really the difference between the success that you're going to have and the difference between these three different types of people is what happens around this plateau. Okay. So the stressor, just like the other two types, are going to take massive action. Okay. But they're going to get here to this plateau and they're going to kind of do this. We're going to try this and try all these different things. Maybe we're going to try Google ads for a little bit and Facebook ads. And then I'm going to do like, maybe some CTR stuff and stuff like this. And eventually when I've messed around for a long enough time, I'm going to have a breakthrough. And then I'm going to be able to come up here and then I'm going to plateau again. And I'm going to do the same thing again. And, it's going to stay like this. And this is actually who I was. There's probably, if you guys are resonating and you kind of feel like this is you, where you're going through and getting distracted, I'd love to throw it in the chat. Let me hear it, show it to everybody else. Cause this is a common thing. This is what it was for me for a long time. This is why for me, when I was building my agency, for the first 2 years, I was at $4,000 a month, right? I was doing all these different things and I would get stuck, right? So the name of this type is the stressor. And this is absolutely this is absolutely not how I wanted to live my life, right? This person is going to get results. So this is kind of like up here. This is the results. They're going to get those results. They're going to get up to this spot at some point. It's just a question of when, because they're persistent. Some of the times the stressors are going to get burnt out because they're like dealing with this circle for a long time. And it's a frustrating process. And it's stressful and it takes longer for you to get results. So, but this is probably the second best method on like who you want to be. Okay. All right. So let's get this out of here for a second and let me take you through the next person. So the next person is who you don't want to be. And I've seen a lot of people like this. I've seen people like this come and go. I've seen people that I think are really talented, but they don't stick with it. Here's what they do. This person is called the dabbler, right? So what the dabbler does is they're going to come up here and they're going to get to this plateau, just like everyone else. They're going to take this massive action and then they're going to get here and they're going to say, hey, you know what? Actually, this wasn't for me. This wasn't what I thought it was. And, it's not really working out. And I've heard about this new thing. So now I'm going to try this and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to be like, oh, I'm plateauing again, right? Everybody's going to hit the plateau. There's no way around it. We're all going to hit that, right? So they're going to say, you know what? This isn't for me either. This also is not, but there's this other new thing over here. And I see that people are having success with it. So I really want to jump into this other new thing. And they're going to go like this. And they're going to be wasting time and they're going to be wasting money. And they're not really moving their lives forward. They're always restarting. They never get to come up to this spot up here in the top right and achieve their goals because they're stopping here. So if you guys resonate with the dabbler where you kind of bounce between these two different things, I'd love to hear about it because this is a deadly thing. And I think there's a lot of people in this group. There's people that I've worked with that I've been trying to coach. And, you know, a lot of these people will come in here and they'll say, hey, I really appreciate you, Patrick. I love what you're doing. It seems like you're a good person. I've tried this, and this, and immediately I'm worried that this person's not going to have success. And then they'll say, hey, what do you think I should do with this scenario? And I'll explain to them, okay, like based on where you're at and what you've told me, here's what I think you should do. So they'll go away and I won't hear from them for maybe a month or 2 months. And then they'll come back and they'll say, you know what, I'm still at this spot. What do you think I should do? And I said, well, like you should still do the same thing that I said before. If I were in your shoes, that's what I would do. What have you been doing? And, you know, they said like, well, I actually went over and I tried this, right? So I tried this other thing. And this is a, like I said, this is a very common thing. I read a really good book that kind of created some of this philosophy in my head. So basically it was talking about, it's called Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, really good book, depending on where you are. It was an entrepreneurial mindset book for me, where it talks about the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. So the sidewalk is essentially the dabbler. The sidewalk is somebody who's just walking and they see stores and they stop and then they keep walking on the sidewalk and they're never going to get to wealth because they're the dabbler in this situation. Then there's the slow lane. So slow lane is not really on here. The slow lane are the people that are working the 9-to-5 jobs, right? The goal, if you're in the slow lane, you go to college, you get a good job, you come out, you work 9 to 5, you take 10 or 15% of your money and you invest it in the stock market or like whatever these other things are. And you hope that, you know, by the time you're 50, 60, 70 years old, this money, the stock market hasn't crashed, you haven't been hurt enough, and you can take this money. And when you're 70 years old, you can finally have this like amazing life, but your life quality is not what it used to be because of your age. You have less energy, you have pains, like maybe you've lost some of your loved ones. You've got scars, all these different things. And then there's the fast lane, and the fast lane kind of lines up with this third one, which we're going to call the achiever. Okay. So the achiever has a completely different methodology here. So I'm just going to erase these guys here and we'll get rid of this circle around here. So as you can probably predict, the achiever is going to be the one that you want to be, right? But guess what? He's got the same problems that we all start out with. And it's just really a question of what he's going to do when he gets to this spot, right? Or she, right? So what are they going to do when they get to the spot? So the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to stop, right? So step one is they're going to stop for a minute and they're just going to kind of reevaluate. Some of you guys, the ones that are dabblers that are going around here and swirling around this thing forever, you don't do step one. You're kind of like a bull and you just keep on pushing and you don't take time to reflect and think about what's going wrong. So the first step when you get stuck on something is to stop and just kind of reevaluate. Okay. So the second thing, so when you're in this plateau, right? When you're in this spot right here, this is where you kind of have low energy, right? When we're cruising up this arc right here, we're cruising up this line, everything's growing great. Our business is growing. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel and then bam, we plateau and our energy drops off. And this is where people stop, right? As we saw, the dabbler drops off completely. The stressor gets stuck there for a while. So what is important when you're losing your energy is let's take a break and let's think about why we're doing this, right? So you're going to reconnect with your why. You're going to ask yourself why you're doing this. So from talking to Alfredo. I know why Alfredo. I know what Alfredo's why is. Alfredo has a daughter, right? Alfredo, and he's got a wife, and he's spending a lot of time. I think he's spending 55 hours a week working. So this is his why. He wants his time back. He wants to spend more time with his daughter. And for some of you guys that think your why is to get to 10K a month, this is not your why. What is the lifestyle that is actually going to change for you? What is going to improve with this? Like, if you get to 10K a month, then why is that important? So if your goal is to get to 10K a month, I would challenge all of you guys to rethink your why and actually build it out based on real information. So for instance, here's what it looks like. Well, you know what? I want to travel the world. I want to go and do these different things. So I need 10K a month. So like, why is 10K the number? Did I go through and calculate everything and it came out exactly to 10,000? Probably not. 10,000 just is like the number that seems sexy, and it makes it validated that this is a real business and it looks cool for other people. That's my opinion. Some of you guys, maybe it landed exactly on 10K, but if we were to kind of work this and say, okay, you know what? I want to take this, I want to fly somewhere, and I have a significant other. So I'm going to fly once a month to this other country. And I think that's going to cost me $2,000 in like flights, right? And then while I'm there, I'm going to need to pay for some lodging. And maybe that's another $2,000. And I still have like my health insurance, and I've got my car and all these other things. Maybe I own a house and I've got a mortgage payment. So I'm counting this stuff up. Maybe I've got a kid that is in college and I'm paying for their college. So you need to build that budget, and you need to calculate what that number is. And like, spoiler, it's not going to be exactly 10K. It's going to look like something like $8,931, something like this. Actually do the math, connect with the why, and go deeper on the why, where you're actually picturing what your life is going to look like. If you want to live in a different house and you want to be in this other area, what does that house look like? Go find it on realtor.com and like look and see what the mortgage payment is, see what the down payment is necessary for, what car do you want to drive, how much is that, do all this math, connect with it, and like really lean in to your why and feel it. And this is where the people have like the vision boards and stuff that start to show up. Like, build out your vision. If you don't know what your vision is, how are you going to get there? How do you know how to work backwards to achieve it, and what steps you need to take? A lot of times, you guys probably need like 10 to 12 sites that are actually ranking. If you do your due diligence and you pick the right niches, that could be $15,000, $20,000, right? With just like 10 ranking sites, if you have the right niches and they're in the right area so that you can rank quickly. So I want you guys, when you run into this energy issue here and we're plateauing, ask yourself why you're doing that and really paint that picture. Okay, so after we have done this, we kind of ground ourselves. We're re-energized on why we want to get up to this X up here in the top, right? Why do we want to get up there? So, okay, there we go. All right, it's back. Okay, so now that we have that, we've kind of moved into a higher energy state. So the next step number 3 is you're going to find help. Okay. Who are you going to ask? This is where you look for a mentor. This is where you look for a coach. Like, even within this group, there are tons of people who have probably solved the problems that you guys have had before, right? Myself, I've been through a lot of these issues. When you guys reach out to me and ask questions, or you ask questions on the call, a lot of the times I can give an answer is because I've had the same problem that you guys have had. So this is a resource. And even if it's not available because I'm a busy person and, I haven't started this coaching program, you guys largely are you're in here for free, right? You have to find somebody that's going to help you. So you can spin your wheels and like stay over here for months and months, maybe a year, or you can find help. A lot of times you can find free help. If you can let the foundation of your relationship with a person be based on a value that you're providing to them, and they will be more willing to provide value back to you, then this could be a really good way to find help if you don't have the money to maybe hire someone in this situation, right? So we're going to ask this coach or this mentor for help. And number 4 is they are going to walk you through the issue, right? you're going to come and say, hey, achiever, yes, I know this problem. I am familiar with this plateau, right? And I will walk you through what worked for us. And we will you won't be alone on this. And this is going to allow us to, instead of like spinning out over here, we're going to be able to go up here to this next plateau. Okay. So the fifth thing here is, it's probably pretty obvious. We have to take action. Once we know what we to do, it's not, this person may help us with the solution, but they're not going to do it for us, right? It's going to require us. It's an education time period. So when you see these people that are joining, like myself, when you see me and you see other people like Spencer joining these other masterminds and trying to level up, this is us trying to be achievers. And I'll tell you that I went from this person to this person, right? I was a stressor for a long time. And now, as soon as I get hit with something, my first thought is like, who can I pay to help me solve this problem? Because I do not want to be stuck here. Being stuck on this spot for too long is more expensive than getting up to this spot as quickly as possible. Okay, so this, I think, is was a huge breakthrough for me in my learning. And I know that, like, hey, it makes simple sense when it's drawn out here like this and we kind of put people into the categories, but your ability to stop, reconnect with your why, find help, get the walkthrough on the steps, and then take action is going to determine the rate at what you can be successful, in my opinion. So simple stuff, but kind of complex behavior adjustment. You guys are not your your behaviors, right? Like you are your behavior so far, but that's something that you have the ability to change, and having the ability to change that is where you have the ability to change the trajectory of your life, to change the trajectory of your business. By changing your behaviors, you can kind of change who you become. Okay, so that's kind of what I have here for you guys tonight. I'd love to hear if anyone has any questions on this. Okay, everything come through clear here. All right, let me ask you another question. Did you guys get value from this? We can kind of have like an open forum here. I don't have Mr. Jeff here to assist me, but I'd love to hear if does this matter for you guys? Do you guys feel like you're falling into one of these categories as a stressor, a dabbler, or maybe everyone on here is like, hey, I've just always been an achiever and this is just what I do. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. Who has any thoughts on this?
Well, I can go first if you want, Patrick.
I'm trying to find out who's talking. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's up?
Yeah.
So I'm basically, just as you mentioned, I used to be a stressor. I'm aware that I'm a stressor, but I am trying to balance it to be between the stressor and an achiever. So I'm aware of the situation. And then once I'm aware, I'm trying to think, okay, I got a problem. I hit the heat bomb, right? So what do I do next? So that's what I'm trying to find a solution to a given problem at the moment. But what I've experienced is that it's taken me time to resolve a particular problem, even though I do know the solution. And I know not because I think it is a solution, but I know that there are people who implemented the same strategy. They did that and it worked for them. So for me, it's a kind of a long process to resolve those issues. And by the time I resolve issues, it seems like I'm being hit with another problem, such as, for example, Google updates killed me again this time. So many of my properties dropped, reviews got removed, reviews got removed. So I kind of, okay, now I have to prioritize the challenges that I have. So which sets me back again. So that's, I'm stressing, but at the same time, I'm not stressing. I understand that this is the business, this is the game I've chosen to be in, and that's not something that is ever going to go away. It's always going to, one issue after another going to come up, and I just have to find a solution. It's just a matter of time. So right now, I mean, I was in the position when I was growing, then I got that, hit the wall, not growing at the time, trying to resolve those challenges I have. And it's kind of a snowball effect for me right now, kind of for the past 2 months, I would say that I haven't moved forward. Even though I think I tried everything I could, I'm on the right path, but not hitting the goals.
Yeah. So a lot of things in here. Sometimes it can seem like, hey, I know that this person has this strategy and I'm doing exactly what they're doing, but it's not working for me. And that may be the time to reach out to this person and be like, hey, can I just pay you like $150 for an hour phone call with you? And this is where I'm getting stuck, right? And it may be that you go through 3 or 4 of these people before you find the solution. But I'll tell you how, like, for instance, in our business, maybe you're struggling to get a GMB, and getting a GMB can be worth thousands of dollars a month. So the lost revenue is a lot more than paying a few people a few $100s to get through this, especially if you're in the situation where you are short on time and you have some money to spend, right? You want to go fast and you want to learn fast on this, right? A second thing kind of goes back to what I was talking about prior to me starting this presentation, Vadim, is like, we are so heavily reliant on this kind of like methodology that we've learned, right? Where we're learning to build the website, we're learning to rank the website and get the Google My Businesses set up. And then we lose one. And there's this whole other world for people. And I don't want you guys to get distracted on this. And this is kind of where, for those that decide to invest in our coaching, delivering this methodology of how we can get leads coming in from other sources and we're not so dependent on Google My Businesses only, right? How can we get somebody to nurture when they come to our site? How can we take the 90% of people that are visiting our site that are not ready to buy and still gather some of their information and maybe convert 30 to 40% of them month after month, right? How do we do that? So then we're not so reliant on, hey, we lose this one thing. And when you want to kind of zoom out sometimes, this is where we stop and say like, hey, I can't get these GMBs to go live, or I'm losing these and I'm moving forward and the business is growing. But if we stop and we think bigger and say, is there another line that I can have in the water from somewhere else, right? So that's where we are with our agency, is like, how do we go from 7 to 8 figures, right? Well, that's a lot of different lead gen sites all over the place. Or maybe it's, I've got now, instead of 1 line in the water, I can get 6 or 7 lines in the water. So Vadim, I appreciate you sharing with that. I hope you got something from my response. I would challenge you to make sure that you are doing the exact process that is working for other people, and try to recruit them to walk you through it. And maybe there's like one little tweak that just isn't being done that's kind of slowing things down or holding you back. And if someone else is crushing it, how can we get that information? And this is what I was talking about earlier, is building these relationships with people. This is where they're more comfortable to kind of share these things, right?
Hey, Patrick, if I can chime in, that is so true. Like Vladimir, I know in this group, like I have Raphael, believe it or not, Chad, and Spencer, where I talk through my problem, and sometimes they like, okay, they can literally pinpoint where I'm going wrong or where my thought process is off, and they kind of ground me and like, hey, we've both been through the same training. I'm having success and you're having hiccup. This is where you're going wrong. So like within this group, especially because we're all in the similar in marketing and the process, I think that's really helped me. Like I can really see the breakthrough and me leveling up, especially with these local businesses that I have coming. It's those relationships and the people that are around you has helped me move forward and just like see where I'm off in my thought process or in the actual process has really, really helped me tremendously. Even Adams is another one that we just hop on the phone and just talking through it and being around people, whether it be good or bad, that it's been super helpful.
Awesome. Awesome, Alfredo. Hopefully,
Thanks, Alfredo, for sharing.
cool. Yeah. And guys, we're looking at doing another one of our kind of events. I think it's going to be somewhere in South Florida, then within the first two weeks of the new year. So that could be an opportunity for some of you guys that are stuck to try to build some of these relationships. But if I were in your shoes, I wouldn't be waiting that long before I started getting some stuff in place. So anybody else have any takeaways from the presentation? Anything they would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, I really resonated with the stressor analogy and getting into that plateau, because I'm definitely mucking around in my first plateau, trying to break past that, you know, and I think like you said, finding a mentor, and when you said like finding help, like I've been hiring some VAs now to kind of help me with some content stuff and building some web pages and things like that. But I don't think that's the type of help like you're talking about though, right? It's more.
That's correct. It's
Yeah.
more of like the higher level stuff of like, hey, why is Alex stuck at 12K a month or 10K a month or wherever you are? Like, what is it that's preventing you from growing? And like Spencer, who's not on this call anymore, he had to go. Spencer was stuck there for 2 years, right? Him and I got on a couple calls, and then he pushed through that and got to 30K or 40K. And I think he's at kind of that next plateau, and he's working through it where you're starting to deal with different problems. And those problems that you guys are at, they're like plateau level problems. So it's almost like everyone that is at that plateau, like a lot of those problems are going to be similar. And the people that are past that, like 100% of them have solved that problem. They can't get past it unless they've solved that problem, right? This is a common thing that you're going through, Alex. And there's people of all different levels that are on this call and within this group, and someone has solved it. And, I can offer up this group and say, hey, like share on the call and stuff. But until someone actually asks for help and shares what they're dealing with, like you're left trying to dissect the videos and the articles and stuff like this. And you'll find it eventually. The stressor will make their way through, and they'll get that breakthrough. It's just the people that are going to get there faster are the ones that are going to ask us questions and just like be relentless toward getting the help that they need. And there's a lot of work that's being done on your own. You're taking this help and then you're trying to make it work. And then you're kind of like going back and forth until you push through it. But I would challenge you, Alex, to really share and find somebody and say, hey, this is what I think I'm struggling with. This is like we're cruising along and then this happened and this is where I can't. And I would be reflecting on it all the time. What is wrong with my business? Where am I stuck? What do I want my business to look like? What's the difference between where I'm at and what my vision is for this? Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks,
Alex. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Alex. We've got time for maybe a couple more shares, or if who else has something? If not, we'll wrap this thing up. Cool.
Yeah, is Garrett going?
What's up, man? How are you?
Oh, I don't know if Garrett's going. Yeah, I'm definitely identifying with the stressor part quite a lot. I'm really, really new to Rank and Rent. I've only been in for 2 months in like 3 days. It'll be 2 months in 3 days. And just trying my hardest to like stick with it because I can see the value of this and not jump around. I actually didn't even know LeadSnap had training until I think around 11:30 last night.
Yeah.
I'd only picked LeadSnap just because I needed a tracking number for other sites that I've done. And so just seeing you illustrate the three different types of people. It's helpful for me to see, okay, yeah, I'm in a bit of a rut right now with the sites that I've tried setting up that I haven't really seen any success with. Where do I go from here? I should probably write down what exactly my problems are and see who I can reach out to.
100%. I think that's the decision that if you make that decision, you get to go faster. We're all, and I want you guys, as you go through this, anticipate the plateau. Okay. Because when you get shocked by the plateau, then you're like, whoa, maybe this isn't for me. But if you know that it's coming, then like, it's not such a problem. It's just like, and the plateau is a step on the road, right? If you guys look, let me just kind of, you guys, let me share my screen again real quick, and I'll show you how growth looks. This is how growth looks, right? This pathway right here where we stop, right? The companies don't grow like this. That's not showing up, but basically the companies don't grow going from like a straight line up. There's different things that have to happen, and this happens to every company. So if you know that that's the case, maybe it can be less discouraging when you arrive at this. You can almost celebrate it and say, look, I'm at the end of the level of the video game. And when I solve this, I get to go to the next level, right? It's not the worst thing. Sometimes we have to take out the garbage, right? And that's what it's like when we plateau. Is like, we've got to take out the garbage once a week. In our house, we have to take out the garbage to the street, and then they come and pick it up. And I don't like doing it, but I know that that's a part of the process, and I'm not shocked when it comes up. But when it's in our businesses and we get hit in the face with it, and we're like, now what, right? So this is what this call is about, is preparing you for the now what, right? And saying like, hey, this is the strategy that you want to use when you get stuck in this spot. You want to go and find the help, because Ian, you're in an awesome spot, because everyone else on the, like, well, not everyone, most people that are in this group and the people that are on this call, they've been in for longer than 2 months, and they have sites that are ranking, and you have more people at your disposal. It's when you get to the top that the air gets thin, right? And that's where we start to go and find like, hey, let me go find higher and higher level people. And it's great when you can, not that you're the, like for me, I'm always on this constant search to try to be the dumbest person in the room, right? I went to this last week. I was in a software founders coaching program that I joined about a year ago. And there were 12 people that I taught. There's probably 200 people there, but 12 of those people were 8-figure plus, right? So being around those people, I get the opportunity to ask, hey, we're not at 8 figures with LeadSnap. So what did you do with this? What did you do with this? And putting myself in that situation, and I have to pay a lot of money to be in that situation, but you know what? It's more expensive to sit here and be stuck than it is to spend that money, right? Because I can break through this and I can get to the next level, and that's going to be like recurring and, the learning. So it's exciting, man. I know that it's frustrating for you. There's like you noticed last night, there's a ton of training that's built in there. And there's also this group with a lot of great people. We don't tolerate assholes in this group. We don't tolerate like negative energy. So you'll find that we have a really strong community with great people that are trying to help each other. And, as you make your way through this and you get to be someone that's like, hey, I remember when I jumped on this call and I was stuck, and now I'm at like 10K a month and 20K a month. The key to this, keeping this community, is that you pay it forward when you get there. And it's just the same with all these other people that are in here, that they were stuck at one point, and we've taken the same attitude, man. So it's actually a really exciting spot for you, man. Ian, are you trying to get out of your job? Is that the goal?
Yeah, I have a 9 to 6 right now. That's pretty soul sucking, and trying to pursue acting full time. And actors notoriously don't make any money at all, ever, and then die poor. So,
well, I mean, wouldn't it be great if like all the bills and everything were paid through something else, and you could spend more time in your true passion? That can be part of your why, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have a really good connection with the why, which is I feel very grateful for that, and all of the people that I've interacted with so far have been really, really kind and positive and all that. I'm in another group, and yeah, I guess it's just good to hear, somebody who is, a lot further ahead than me say like, hey, this is normal. Just, don't give up.
Yeah.
Like, this is, and I wasn't planning on giving up, but, for the last 3 days, I've just been like, God damn it. God damn it.
It can be brutal. It can be brutal. And, this question, over this last, I started out this call over the last, 30 days, we've been in 5 different conferences and masterminds in like coaching programs and around all these different people. And, my wife gets this question all the time. She's like, what is it about Patrick that allowed him to get to where he is? And the answer for her is always, he's relentless. That's what it is. And that's something that you guys can all choose to be. It's not something that I was born with. I taught myself to be a software engineer by watching classes online, and it was incredibly frustrated. Prior to that, I played poker for a living for a decade, and that is torture. Like if you it is 14 hours of suffering followed by 30 seconds of finally this has happened, where I'm making better plays and think nothing's going my way. But I know that there is an opportunity based on how some of the other people at the table are playing, and you can just keep on getting shut down and shut down. But I'd already decided hey, I've got an advantage here and time's on my side. If I stick with this and I'm relentless, there's only one possible outcome, right? I've already, and a lot of times, honestly, I've already decided what the outcome is. And I know I'm here and this is where I want to go. And it's just what are the steps between this? I've already decided I'm coming to this spot, right? And I'm going to find the people, I'm going to find the steps that are going to get me to that location, and that attitude and kind of just having that self-belief is the most important thing in this, more important than being great with people or super smart or whatever your background is, your height, size, color. If you've already decided, there's people in every walk of life that has done something extraordinary, and there's no reason that can't be any of us. You just have to make that decision and move forward with relentless pursuit, and there's only one outcome. So awesome. Before we jump off here, does anyone else have any other comments? Ian, welcome to the group, man. I'm excited you're in here, and I hope this can really I hope it can change things for you like it's changed for me, so yeah.
Thanks,
really
Patrick. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Does anyone else have any final comments before we jump off here?
Let me make one. Then
William, my man, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm finally back home.
I just want to piggyback on something you said, because it resonated with me, and I think it's true, probably universally. In my life, or in my business life in particular, when I've committed to something and I have had that same feeling that you described, that it's I know it's going to happen. I may not know how, and I may not know what all the bumps are going to be, but I know it's going to happen, and I've decided that. This was not a mind over matter decision for me. This was for some reason, I had a certainty this would occur. And every time I have that feeling, it happens, because that supersedes all of the other stuff. When I have the bumps and the stops and the plateaus and all that, which are totally inevitable, that it's not like I just made up a commitment and said, "Thou, I will do this no matter." It's not at all that. It's just, I could see it was going to happen. I decided I was going to do it, and I stuck to that. The other thing is this, is that when you're relentless, the way you describe yourself, when you're in that mode, and when I'm in that mode, it's really, really one of the biggest assets we have, because it attracts other people. So when I'm that way and being that way, and people hear me speak it, and I'll say, "Hey, I'm stuck," or "I'm broke," or "I can't figure this out," or whatever, when they still know that I'm relentless and I'm really going to get it done, people just flock. They just come in and they want to help. So it's your way of being about it, your decision you make in these things is magnetic. It really will pull people in. And I don't mean that in a woo-woo way at all. I've seen it happen over and over and over again. So I'm just sort of adding it to what you said, because it's really, really valuable once you make those decisions.
For sure. I mean, it's obvious that it's going to be magnetic if that's your attitude. Who do
Exactly.
you want to tie your horse to?
Right.
You wanted someone
Right.
that's like, this person's not sure of themselves. Like the reason that I do well with sales is because I'm certain that I'm going to crush it for these people, and they feel that, and they're
Yeah.
like, when we're picking our kickball teams on the playground, I'm not trying to pick the little weenie that doesn't want to play and it's like over pick. I want to pick the bruiser that knows they're going to crush it and they're going to kick it over the fence, and I want them on my team, right?
Exactly.
We're attracted to that. We want to move forward. We want to be in a group with other people who believe in themselves, and they like, I wasn't always that way. You know, you guys might look now like it's kind of crazy. Like I was telling this to someone at this coaching thing that I was at last week is, you know, you kind of like focus on what you're trying to do, and you're going like one step and another step, and you're kind of in the weeds with it. And then, you know, maybe a year or two goes by and you look back and you're like, holy shit, that's how far I've come. Like where I was just trying to get to the next step. And when people kind of like see the direction you're going in, like they flock to you, right? Just like when we went to this conference and we had some tickets to sell for this event, like they were sold out in almost no time. I held a couple because I wanted to have some special people with me, and I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to join, but that kind of like flocked towards us. And when we started doing these events with these mansions last time before COVID started, it started out, I think there was 10 of us, and then there was like 15, and then there was 20, and then there were like 50 people, and 100 people want to join this thing with us, right? It's that magnetism of the certainty and of like this positive energy. People feel that, they resonate with that, right? If you are walking around and you're saying hi to people and you've got your posture and you're smiling, like you've seen these people, right? And when you're that person, better stuff just happens to you. I don't think it's woo-woo. It's just like, we're in this world trying to figure out, like, we're trying to make sense of this like confusing environment. And then it's like, sometimes you see someone and you're like, I don't want anything to do with that person. And sometimes you're like, who is this person here? And like, what is their deal? This person is just like vibrating on this like other level that like, I just want to be around this person. Like this guy's going somewhere. We've all felt that, right? So you guys have to, sometimes we have to fake it till we make it. And we need to load our subconscious. And you guys have this group, right? If you guys believe in me, if you guys believe in the rest of the group, then you're not in this alone, right? You've got this kind of like opportunity with us. We can push each other up. We can help each other move forward. We can answer the questions. It's very rare that a question gets posted in the group and there's absolutely no answer. Someone is almost always chiming in and trying to help. And even though you guys haven't really been my students where you're paying, like Harry, I've got on calls with you trying to help you move things forward, right? I've never even charged you anything for it. I just want to see you guys move forward. And that's the attitude that is in this group. And a lot of you guys that are on this call, the same is true. So leverage that, put that in, and count that as an asset and your ability to move forward when you're having those moments of self-doubt, and understand, anticipate that plateau and push through it, because we all have it. My agency has been plateaued a large part of this year. Like we've been like struggling with multiple different things, operational issues. How do you grow a software company? How do you also have an agency? You've got real estate that you need to manage, and you've got a group of 1,400 people, and you're trying to help all these people move forward. That will cause a plateau. So like I'm doing stuff to try to learn and how to improve, and what do I need to have in place operationally? We've got operational issues, but I'm going and I'm trying to find the best people that are in our team. And it's Ala, you're unmuted, or you were. Okay, cool. So don't think for a minute that we're not dealing with the same problems, but we're all going to have them. It's just, what is our reaction going to be to those problems, and how are we going to move forward, right? So I hope you guys got some good value out of this call. I appreciate you guys. I encourage you to share within the group. If you guys like this call, if you got something out of it, or if there's somebody that you know that is maybe in this group, tag them in the comments of the Facebook, which I'm not even sure if this thing went live. Normally I have Jeff telling me, can anyone confirm that this thing actually went live?
It's live.
Oh, it's live. Okay. So add it in, tag the person in the Facebook group if you think that they will benefit from this. Let's help each other, right? Let's kind of like my goal, if you guys don't feel the passion, is to try to inspire you guys and try to move you guys forward. And I'd love to lead by example and have you guys permeate this and kind of push this throughout the rest of the group. So let's help each other. Let's move things forward, and let's make a difference here. So next week, 7 days from now, I would love to hear some wins, and let's solve some of these problems, and let's get to the next level. All right, you guys have an amazing week. Thanks for jumping on, and I will talk with you guys soon. I'll see you in the group.
Thank you.
You're welcome.